Hi, and welcome to 102's weekly video. I'm Fiona and I'm one of the co-chairs of 102.
Hi, I'm Naomi Holtford and I'm a module team member. This week you're going to be learning about children's rights, and this year is actually the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which lays out a number of rights that in theory all children across the world should have access to.
So you might think of this as relatively dry week, and maybe that this document is sitting there just in the offices of the UN, and what does it actually mean? But we've been really quite interested to see how young people have used this document recently. So in the last couple of weeks, some young people, including Greta Thunberg and others, have brought a case based on the United Nations rights of the child. So they are concerned that their rights are not being upheld because of climate change. And they've taken 5 countries as an example and taken a case against these 5 countries to the UN Committee for the Rights of the Child. So they're arguing that these countries haven't taken appropriate action to combat emissions and to stop climate change.
So one of the things you'll learn about this week is how we can think of the rights in a number of different ways. So that's rights of provision, rights of protection and rights of participation. And I think this action actually shows all three because rights of provision, so that's the idea that children need to be provided for. Children are arguing that climate change is causing that not to happen. So, for instance, some of the people taking this action, their housing is being destroyed by flooding caused by climate change. There's also the idea of protection. So, children are saying, well, we're not being protected from damaging health impacts, for instance. And then finally, the right to participation is clear here because these children are participating in a political process, a legal process, in order to try and bring about social change.
So what do you think the effect of trying to use the UN Convention for the Rights of the Child in this way will be?
Well, that's a good question, because one of the problems with the UNCRC is that actually there's not all that many official legal mechanisms that can be used to enforce the rights that are within it. So, for instance, you'll see there are some rights in the convention, for instance, the right to education for all. As you'll learn later in this module, and I'm sure you know already, there are lots of children around the world who aren't getting access to that right. And one of the problems is that there's not that much enforcement mechanism. But I do think that this kind of action can have quite an impact in terms of political action, in terms of raising awareness, and in terms of young people having a voice to change the world that they live in.
So we hope that you enjoy this week and find out more about the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the rights that children and young people have generally, and that you can use it to try and compare to examples in your own area or your own country, or maybe thinking about international issues like we've been discussing. We hope you enjoy the week.